So Star Wars The Acolyte just premiered last night. Episode 1 and 2 were uploaded to Disney Plus, and I checked them out, and it was alright. There's been a lot of drama leading up to this release. There's been a lot of people just hating on it without even watching it, and then there's some people praising it without even watching it. I thought the trailers looked interesting enough, and I was excited to watch the show. And the show is basically like this space mystery. These Jedis are being murdered, and they're trying to figure out who did it, and then it ties over to one of the main characters. Actually, what the heck, I'm going to talk spoilers. It's literally episode 1 and 2. It's all about this girl killing Jedis. And she's related to another main character named Osha, and overall, I gotta say, I like the story, I like the mystery, I like the look of the show. Everything about it, I would say, is solid. But it just didn't blow me away. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is the best Star Wars I've ever seen. Like, it was just alright. Well, let's go ahead and talk pros and then cons, and then I'll give you guys my rating of the first 2 episodes out of 10. So my first pro is the action. There's some really good Star Wars action using the Force and lightsabers and these little, like, knife things. I know there's a name for it. I don't know what it is, so don't cook me in the comments. There's a really cool, like, table flip Force kick that we saw in a clip that Star Wars uploaded onto, like, all their social media a few weeks ago. And yeah, overall, the action was really good in this. I wouldn't say it's, like, the best action I've ever seen in Star Wars, but it was really solid. Then I would say the mystery surrounding the main character of Osha and her sister May, I really like that, and how they haven't revealed everything just yet, and how their past links together with the Jedis, and it looks like we're going to see those flashbacks that reveal the story to us in later episodes. So overall, I do like the story that they're telling so far, even though we haven't gotten really a lot of answers just yet. Then I would say the costumes look great, the set design, they did a lot of practical things which I think looked pretty good. It made the world feel more real. Because a big complaint that I had with recent Disney Plus shows is the use of the volume. It looks so bad, and that's why Ant-Man 3 didn't look that great either, because they used the volume. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's basically a giant screen that essentially gives actors a background to act against. But it is really noticeable for the most part. Like, sometimes it's done really well, sometimes it's not. But anyways, my main point is that the show looks pretty good. There is some times where it doesn't, which I'm going to get at in my negatives, but overall, it was visually pleasing. My next positive is Jedi Master Saul. This guy is awesome. I guess he's from the Squid Games, which I have not checked out yet. It's in my watch list, but I just haven't gotten time to just sit down and watch it yet. But apparently he's a fan favorite from that show, and I can see why. He is fantastic in this. He's a very complex character. He's got links to Osha and May's past. I'm sure it's going to get revealed later on, and it's just a really interesting character to have in the show, and he's basically almost like an adoptive father for Osha. My next positive is Amandla Stenberg. She plays May and Osha, and I think she did a great job. She gets to play someone who's good and someone who's bad, and I thought she did a pretty good job so far. But now on to my negatives. My first one is that they revealed the whole murderer twist way too fast. Like, way too fast. I think it was episode 2. They revealed that it was May and she's alive and she's the murderer. Like, why did you not drag that out? Have people think that it's Osha. Maybe Osha's going crazy. Maybe when she gets, like, her body taken over at some points and does the murdering. Like, you could have done something really cool, but they just revealed that it was May right away. And I know there's probably a lot of twists and turns coming around the corner, but at the same time, I still think we're going to have one good sister and one bad, and to have the bad one revealed to be alive that quickly, I think was a huge missed opportunity to have it dragged out throughout this season, maybe reveal it in like episode 5 or 6, or maybe even right at the end, I don't know. It just felt way too quick. Then I would say some things didn't really make a lot of sense. Like, there was a fire out in space, which I know we've seen in previous Star Wars movies, but that's typically when a ship is being, like, shot at or blown up because the oxygen comes out, and that's what creates the fire. This was just a fire on the outside of the ship. There was no, like, shots being fired or anything, so I don't really know how that made sense. Not really a big problem by any means, but me just being a big science fan, I was like, wait, what? How does that make sense? Then my next negative would be the death scene for Jedi Master Indara. I thought it was very anticlimactic, and it happened so quickly in the season. I was like, what the heck? Why would you get Carrie-Anne Moss to be this Jedi Master who gets defeated in like 5 minutes? And I know she's back in the series in flashbacks, but this is a Jedi Master during the High Republic. You should not be getting beat that easily, especially against someone who's not even using a lightsaber. They're literally using throwing knives. And the way she died was just like, what? Like, you are a Jedi Master, you are trained in combat, you just took your eyes off to stop a throwing knife being thrown at a civilian bartender. Why would you not keep your eyes on the person who's attacking you at the same time? Like, I'm sure she could have easily froze May in her spot and then used her other arm to stop the throwing knife, and I don't know why she didn't do that. She just focused on the throwing knife and then got one thrown right in the heart and died. I just thought it was a weird action scene that resulted in a very weird death, but it was a fun action scene to watch up until that death actually happened. I would also say that they're not really making the High Republic Jedi look all that great. Like, they seem kind of incompetent right now. They seem almost like they're the bad guys when this is like the height of the Jedi, you know? Like, they should be seen as the actual heroes, and they should have very, very good combat experience and not just get defeated like Jedi Master Indara did. I'm sure they'll probably explore the High Republic Jedi more throughout the season, but I was expecting a bit more of it, especially in the introduction of the Acolyte series. I would also say the writing wasn't the greatest so far. Like, it wasn't bad by any means. I would say it was bang average. And then I would say most of the characters weren't very likable. I'm sure they're going to get more character development as the season goes on, but just judging it off of the first 2 episodes, I don't really like any of them besides like Jedi Master Soul, and then I like Osha a bit as well. I think she's an interesting character. But the other Jedis, like, I don't really care about them as of right now. And then my final complaint with the first 2 episodes is kind of contradicting myself a little bit when I said the show looked really good and I like the practical sets and all that. But I would say the show just looks a little bit too clean, a little bit too polished. Like, it honestly looks like a TV show, which I know it is a TV show, but with a budget of $180 million, you would think this would look a bit more cinematic. For whatever reason, the way it's shot just looks very static. It doesn't look all that great. Like, what's in the frame looks good, but it's just not to the quality we would expect for something with this kind of budget. It almost kind of looks like fan film quality, which isn't a diss to fan films because they do some incredible stuff, but it's just not the type of quality you would expect for something with this big of a budget and this big of an IP. But yeah, guys, overall, I did enjoy episode 1 and 2. I think it's off to a pretty solid start. There are some things that I would have done differently, like maybe not reveal that May is alive and that she's the murderer right away, and maybe give a little more character development to a lot of the Jedi characters specifically. But overall, like I said, I enjoyed it. I'm going to give the first 2 episodes a 6.5 out of 10. It is a collective score, which I know some people might say is unfair, but every week when I review these, obviously those reviews are going to be dedicated to that specific episode, but for the first 2, I'm going to say 6.5 out of 10. I definitely recommend to check it out if you are a big fan of Star Wars. I've been hearing some bad things about episode 3, but I hope that it is not true and that this show just, you know, picks up quality-wise and hopefully hits like a 7, 8, 9 out of 10 by the end of the season. But I've heard some negative things about episode 3. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what those negative things are next week on Tuesday when the new episode drops. Let me know what you guys thought about the first 2 episodes of Star Wars The Acolyte. Did you like it? Did you hate it? And what would you rate it out of 10? Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week for episode 3.